Welcome back to another episode of Akau TV. Here today, watching track work. What a successful week we had with plenty of winners, including in the South Island and North Island, starting off with Cognoscenti and Vivacious scoring at Riccarton last Wednesday. Obviously, really good effort from Vivacious, first up after a break, and it was a dominant performance on a slightly off track. She's just going to get better throughout the season, which is a very pleasing result. And Cognoscenti, it's a great ride by Courtney Barnes. Obviously, Hayley Hasman stable apprentice was ill, and Courtney stepped up, which was very pleasing. And then we moved to Friday. We had one winner at Emma Twig on debut, a filly that David brought for the Fortuna team, and she's taken a little while to mature, but she's got there, and she put in a really good performance and is only going to improve with the more she does. And then Saturday rolled along, Champions Day. Great to get a couple of victories, including the unlucky Top Shelf, who's been knocking on the door all season. It was a good ride by Mick D. He was going to get trapped and he rolled forward. So very pleased for the Fairdale team. They've been very patient with her. A lot has gone wrong for this mare this season, but we certainly have black type aspirations for her. She's certainly up to it, and she's just going to keep getting better as she gets older. And then obviously Lara Antipova, just what a 2-year-old she's been here in New Zealand this season. She'll do her future racing in the Melbourne base, which is very exciting. We haven't had a 2-year-old win races like she has throughout the whole season for a long time, so well done to John Galvin and the team, and yet again another horse that David Ellis has purchased for him. And then we can't not mention Belle Chevelle. What a wonderful effort by her in the NZB Kiwi. She got back in the running from the draw. Her sectionals are off the chart, and the same as Lara Antipova, she'll continue her racing there in Australia as she heads to Sydney for the Vinery up to 2,000 metres. Certainly looks like it'll be ideal for her. She was closing very hard on Well Ridden. She was winning before the line and after the line, just not on the line. So very pleased with them. And then obviously we had the Colt here at Matamata on Wednesday, seize the day, our 2025 Colts partnership, a horse that we've always had a lot of time for. We've just waited and waited, let him mature before racing him. He put in a good effort on debut at Ellerslie, and we knew we had the right horse to get the job done yesterday, and he heads to the Manawatu size. It's the favourite now, and we think he can be a Group 1 winner and end up standing at stud like the last few years our Colt partnerships have. We've returned to conquer and moved to strike, a couple to name. We have a light weekend on runners this coming weekend, with only runners at Pukekohe on Friday, which the weather forecast doesn't look very good, and the same at Tauranga on Saturday. So we're just going to be minding the weather coming up. But we start off in race 1 at Pukekohe on Friday with She Suits Herself, a mare that will really enjoy the wet weather. She's been a very consistent maiden horse, and barrier 5 looks ideal for her. She should be able to get into a good spot from that draw, and I think she's knocking on the door to break through, and she can get the job done for us there tomorrow in race 1. Then we move to race 4, Centurial. He'll be under a weather cloud. He wants good footing. He put in a really good performance there at Taupo on debut, hit the line very strongly. Draw doesn't help him, so we'll just have to ride him where he lands, get him into a rhythm. He's been a horse that's just taken a little while to mature and let the penny drop, but he's getting there. And then we've got She Means Business, a Circus Maximus filly we really like. We know the family really well, with obviously training It's Business Time, her half sister, for the Windsor Park team, and a bit of rain about certainly wouldn't hurt her. She's drawn very similar in both races, so we'll just mind what the fields look like come tomorrow morning, but she's going to race very well and take good improvement from that. But once she steps up over even more ground than 1200, I'm sure she'll be knocking on the door. And then in race 5 we've got Thumbelina, a filly that we have a lot of time for, that does do a lot wrong, but the penny is starting to drop. Her work's been very good throughout the past week, 10 days. She's come on well from that good effort at Pukekohe last time out, and Opion, big bonus. Look, the draw doesn't worry us, but the weather conditions do, so we'll just have to mind that going forward. Then we move to race 7, Bellish Boy, a horse that's just kept on improving start by start, which has been very pleasing. He's building towards a victory. Weather forecast again is a horse under the cloud as he's racing later in the day, but he's drawn a nice barrier. Opion, if he was able to get into the 1-1 with a bit of cover and not be attacked so early like he was at Taupo, I'm sure he'll be right in the finish. And then we move on to the last race, Zambrosia, a filly that's continued to keep on improving start by start. Not often a horse with her sort of pedigree would be stepping up over more ground than a mile, but she seems to be, and she seems to be really enjoying it, and she's going very, very well, so expect a really good performance from her. Here we have a couple of our horses just heading out to have a bit of work on the plough this morning over ground. We move to our northern meeting on Saturday. We kick off later in the day in race 4 with a really good mare and Dream of the Moon, who continues to race consistently. It was a really good effort last time out at Ellerslie. She does have the weight to carry, but Hayley Hassman's claim certainly brings her into it a lot. But the weather forecast obviously isn't going to help a filly like her. We'll just have to mind that, but she's going to race very consistent wherever she does go. Then we move to race 5, Egyptian Queen. Filly that probably wouldn't mind the bit of rain about. She's racing very consistent. It was a good effort last start. She continues to race the bar. We're really happy with her. And down in the weights, she attacks as a really good prospect. And then we move to race 6, where we have a couple of horses running, and both of them wouldn't mind a bit of moisture in the track, in Queen's Evidence and Sibling Rivalry. Queen's Evidence is obviously seasoned. She's racing very well. She's fit. She's going good. Masahasha Zumi continues his association with her, so very pleased with that. And then we move to Sibling Rivalry, fresh up after a break. She's doing really well. She's probably going to take good improvement from that first up run, but she's down in the weights with Hayley Hassman's claim, so expect a really good performance by her. Then we move to race 7, the feature of the weekend, the Japan Trophy with Kwali Alfarasha. She's racing very genuine performances and much stronger races than what she is in on Saturday. She's been running in Group 1s throughout all season, and she's been racing very well, which has been very pleasing. Michael McNabb takes the ride. Very appreciated that he's making the 55 kilos for her since coming back. He's made a real impact on the riding ranks, so very happy to have him aboard her. She's going really well. From the draw, she should be able to hop away into a good position, and a bit of rain about certainly brings her into it even more. It'll be run like an 1800 metre race, which is just perfect for her. She's a mare that's knocking on the door, so she deserves another Group 2 to her CV. And then in the last race, we have Cease and Desist, a horse that probably appreciates better footing than he'll receive by the last race, so we'll just watch the weather for him, but he's in good order. Masahasha Zumi takes the ride. From the draw, we'll just ride him where he lands. Bit of cover. He's been left probably a bit closer to the speed than we would have liked in his last couple of races, and he stuck on gamely enough last time at Matamata, but the step up at the mile from a good draw, hopefully he can land midfield and have something to chase, and I think we'll see the very best out of him. Completes our weekend of runners this coming weekend. Obviously the weather forecast holds a lot at bay for us with how many runners we will have this coming weekend. But my best bet will be race 1 at Pukekohe. She suits herself. If that rain was to come, I think she's a very competitive chance. But even if it doesn't, she's going really well, and expect a really big performance. Go the Tangerine.